All right, time for a random sketchbook dive number 2. Random sketchbook dive is where we pick a sketchbook entirely at random, flip through some pages, and find a project to do. Let's see what happens. I am literally have no idea what we're going to do here. That's the whole idea of this thing. We'll just see. It's completely at random. Just going to grab out a book. Book number 48. All right. Well, the question is, what? Okay, we're going to go. I'm not going to go through it ahead of time. We'll just go through it together, find something to do. So here we are on my bench, and we'll take a look at the sketchbook, see what's what. Find something that we can sculpt. And we will look and see. It's a little interesting. Here's a frog woman. I think I'll take out the next couple of pages. She's interesting. All right, I'm kind of liking her. She's okay. Make an interesting sculpt too. Actually, a lot of could do that. Like do a clay head of that just for fun. I'm doing a little tiny bit of self-censorship here so as to keep things, safe for everyone. Oh, that would be a great sculpt too. I gotta admit, that'd be a good one. These would be good. These are some happy, cheerful girls I was drawing in those days. It's the face I saw in my nightmares. Going back to that drawing we saw earlier of the red face. I don't know, there's something about this that's calling to me. Let's set some parameters because that's what artists do. Let's do it as a one-day sculpt, start to finish, one day. And whatever it is at the end of the day, that's what it's going to be. Let's do it in a very soft oil clay, which is a facile medium to work with, a lot of fun to do. And I haven't worked with it in a long time, so that'll be interesting. Okay, decision made. Let's head over to the studio. Let's build an armature. Let's get the clay, and let's go to work. All right, so here I am inside of Procreate. Basically, all I want to accomplish here is to make some sketches for the armature. So let's draw some straight lines. I'm just going to sketch them out real loose. So there's the bottom of her chin, roughly the bottom of her nose. Now let's tell me where my eyeballs are. They're somewhere in there. Okay, so now we'll sketch her out. And she's got really whacked out proportions. I mean, no back of the head, basically just a face. I'll lay in her chest and her body. Put in the features of her face. Really all we need is to establish where we're going to put the wood pieces inside of this form, the wood of the armature. So let's do a front view, kind of look at her from there, put the neck in, long skinny neck, and yeah, that's about all the information we're going to need for this. So we're going to want a stick, definitely going up her. The sort of main support is going to be her neck. So we're going to want a stick right in the middle. And that can go all the way to the base. Stick can go all the way to the base. All right, so we're going to definitely commit to a center pole right there, and that's just going to be like, who knows, a piece of wood. Okay, then there's just going to be a flat base about like that. And really all we are going to need, we got to be super careful because we don't need, and we just want to hang the clay. So let's cut a piece of plywood that looks something like this. Something like that. I think that's really all we need. So you got your stick up the middle, right? Got your stick up the middle. Got your base. This base is going to be wider. Piece of plywood is in the middle. But we could also hang a couple of wings off the side. We could do those in foam. Like this could be foam. Do we want anything filling in here? We may want a block of foam. Could put foam in here. You know, this block of foam in there. Block of foam in here. Maybe even shaped kind of like that. Here I'm just kind of figuring out where the clay is going to lay on the armature. Although the truth is, I know that the clay sculpture isn't going to look anything like, it's not going to look anything like the original drawing, and it's not going to look much like these sketches. I mean, it's just going to take on a life of its own and sort of be its own thing. So, but you know, she's got huge features. I mean, she's really nothing but you know, huge mouth, huge nose on a really tiny little pin head. But she'll work out fine. Here we are at my shop bench, and as you can see, I've got the drawing of the girl up. Now here's a handy thing that you can do. You can decide, let's see, since we're not going to make this thing huge, that's probably about the size we're going to make it. One nice thing is we can use the sketch on the iPad, zoom it in and out, and we can take measurements off it. So for instance, we know that that's going to be, that base could be about 1 3/4 by, let's call it 3 inches. So I'm just going to mark out here. All right, so that's our base. Now, what I'm going to do is kind of go through my scrap pile here. I got a little scrap pile. So there's our upright. So there's our base. We'll cut this off. Probably going to go ahead and round these corners on the bandsaw. Make them nice and rounded, like that. You know what? I think you guys get the point. I'm going to mark the parts and cut them out on the bandsaw, then glue them all together with 5-minute epoxy. I think I'll spare you the tedium of watching me do that relatively simple job. And when I get it all done, I'll come back to you and we'll go on from there. So this is glued together, all ready to go. Fantastic. And now all we got to do is slap some clay around it and make a sculpture. That's the next step. All right, I'm back on my bench at home. And what are we doing here? I got some clay. Top tip. I nuked it for a couple of minutes in the microwave, softening it right on up. And now we can start packing it. And we're just gonna pack this stuff on, kids. It's quick and easy. And because I nuked it, it's nice and soft. Goes right on. That's the thing about oil clay. A lot of clays are like that. Actually, if you work at controlling the temperature of the clay, you can work it easier. So if you put it in the refrigerator, it gets rock hard. If you nuke it in the microwave, or put it in if you happen to have a hot box, that's also handy dandy. Hot box is a very handy thing to have. You can use that. Anything. Heat softens it, cold hardens it. This is just the build-up phase. Slapping the clay on. This isn't all that interesting. She's going to have a really skinny neck relative to the rest of her. We want to get to the point where we bury the wood completely. So we don't want to be hitting the wood. You build it up, you push it. Clay is so easy to push around. Very different sculpt in clay than it is to sculpt in wax or foam or wood or just about anything else. Every material you work in has its own language, has its own wants and needs, has its own vocabulary. It's all very interesting. Materials are fun. Materials are fun to work with. A little more mass on this side of the head. And we will call segment 1 of the sculpting process a raging success. Sculpting continues in part 2. I hope you stick around and watch it. Oh, you I don't know. I don't know. Hey, thanks for watching. The sculpting continues in part 2. I hope you stick around and check it out. Check it out. Hey, hey.